Hey everybody, welcome back. As you see, I have a new backdrop. So I ended up going to Athens, Greece, and I just got here, but I'm gonna put together a vlog. So you might see this before that gets uploaded on my channel. So today I want to talk about unwanted experiences or situations. The first thing that you have to understand about overcoming something that's unwanted is recognizing your self concept, who you think you are, especially when it comes to finding solutions easily, resolving situations, having the capacity to overcome things. If you don't see yourself as someone who can easily get helped or get things resolved, or even if you can't do it, usually somebody will come around to assist you, then that's the first thing that you kind of have to change your mind and become someone who is more open minded and willing to see themselves in a different fashion. So just start changing the way you see yourself when it comes to situations. Don't feel like you have to always be overwhelmed and kind of give up and not be able to get a resolution to anything, because you're just going to keep yourself stuck if you always assume that those situations are bigger than you. You're always going to feel like you're drowning or stuck and can't really change your life to what you truly want it to be when that's not the case. First, what comes is a change in mindset before the solutions and things like that come sometimes. Or just being willing to even see yourself differently or see the situation differently can make all the possibilities open up for you. Um, so the second thing was labeling and defining it as unwanted. Obviously, if it's something that you don't want, you're not going to sit there and act like you're happy about it. But even just in defining it as unwanted or whatever struggle or situation, you're already putting more importance on it and the fact that it's not changing, and continuing to look at it that way and identify it with that title. It keeps it as something that's limiting you, as something that's blocking you, which is why it's important, go on to the next step, to give things a new meaning. So obviously it could be just helping you decide more clearly what you want and switch focus and see, maybe you need to start believing in yourself to have uh, things that you feel worthy of, and maybe it's just in general feeling worthy that you can have the things that you want or have a easygoing lifestyle or whatever it is. But just being able to look at a situation as something completely different, or just as something that's beneficial to you instead of harmful. So usually things will help you to grow as a person. It'll help you be prepared for the very thing that you want, because if you're fearful of the downside or the opposite happening, how are you really going to be able to let that go to allow yourself the the relief and the peace that you could get from having it resolved? If it's so big and in your face that you're not even allowing yourself to feel peace or be able to let go of that circumstance to step into the solution, you have a big problem right there, because it's always going to be feeling like it's difficult for you to be open minded or be able to give yourself relief before the thing manifests. But what we know, at least with the law of assumption, is that you have to assume that it's already done, it's already resolved. So if you keep reacting to what you're seeing and then holding the assumption that it's not changing or nothing's happening, you're keeping yourself stuck. And you don't want to do that, because it's just going to be frustrating and it gets overwhelming after a certain amount of time when you continuously keep yourself stuck just because you won't change the way you look at something. Um, so that goes into having acceptance of something without resistance. You can just accept the situation for what it is. The fact is, this situation is like this, and you're shifting or manifesting the solution of it, and that's all it is. The relationship of whatever it is that's happening to you right now, it doesn't mean that your life is always going to be that way or things are never going to change. You just accept it to say, this is where you were, and that helped you decide more clearly what you want, and now you focus on what you want. Other than that, it shouldn't be something that causes any type of emotional reaction, because the only reason you're having the reaction is because you believe something to be true about it, or you're still accepting it and kind of resisting it, which doesn't allow you to experience the answer or the solution or the resources to change it. It just might not be the way that you expect, but even in limiting yourself to one way that something could change doesn't leave room for all the other possibilities that might be way more easier than you think. So after you kind of get that feeling of acceptance and just neutrality about whatever it is that you're trying to change, just decide what you want. Because in deciding what you want, the unwanted stuff falls away. You can't focus on wanting something and pushing against what you don't want at the same time. You're either choosing the unwanted circumstance or you're choosing the wanted or your desires. So people don't realize that getting frustrated or angry or still reacting to circumstances is choosing to keep that circumstance in your life. That's a choice. It might not feel like it's something that you feel empowered to do, but even by just assuming that that's the way that things always are for you, you're choosing that by putting your attention and your focus on it, by having that expectation. So yeah, you really have to focus fully on fulfillment and having whatever it is that you're trying to experience. And just the same way that you have conviction of the negative situation, you flip it and have conviction that it's resolved, it's done, it's taken care of. It's not even a doubt in your mind, the way that you don't have a doubt in your mind that this thing is bad for you or that the solution isn't unfolding for you. So again, the next thing is just persisting until it's resolved, or at least you have peace, or like I said before, that neutrality about the circumstance. And then lastly, it was just techniques on how to do that. Like affirmations, we're already affirming. Affirmations is just thinking. So we're thinking all day long. So those are things that you're basically affirming into your experience. Or a lot of people will use revision, and basically it'll make it seem as if I'm so sorry, y'all. I had like a 8-hour flight and I couldn't sleep at all. But I'm probably just gonna leave that in there, to be honest. So yeah, people will do revision. It just makes it seem as if the situation never happened to them, or just basically anything in the way of you having what you want has to get resolved. So example, when I was going to the airport and there was a long line and I didn't have anything to skip the line, I just started affirming, like, I never have to wait in line. Like, and I just kept saying that for a few minutes. And instead of having an hour wait to get through security, they took a group of us to another security checkpoint where it was only like maybe 15-20 minutes. So me affirming that I never have to wait allowed me to experience shifting to a different reality where I don't have to wait, or I didn't have to wait as long as that hour time that they had said. Now, obviously, it could have been something else where they just pulled me and I was the only one who went and I went straight to the front. But I was still okay with waiting the 20 minutes over the hour, so I wasn't really going to be picky about it. But so that's just one example that happened recently. But if it's anything like money or something like you wanted confidence and just changing your personality, you could just say, I've always had more than enough money. I've always paid my bills in full. And that has to become true for you, meaning anything that opposes that statement will no longer be able to exist. But your job is to keep repeating that to yourself, keep thinking about money in that way until you start seeing money coming. So obviously, if you're saying I've always paid my bills in full, and if you don't have the money to pay it in full, what do you think needs to happen to make that true? You're gonna get the money somehow. Maybe they'll just say you don't owe the money anymore, or for whatever reason your bill will be paid even though you didn't pay it. There's so many ways that that statement can become true that you might not even be able to think of, but it doesn't mean that it's not gonna happen for you. So that's just one example, but there could be a million other things that you're trying to change in your life. So that's just one way to try to turn situations around for your benefit. Obviously, everything could be a learning experience, but if you're not willing to make the changes in your mindset and in who you are in relationship to those things, then it's not going to allow you to have that consistent, easygoing lifestyle that a lot of people wish they could have. And it's not like it's impossible, it's just it requires changing who you are and letting go of who you thought you were. So I think that's where I'm going to end this video about unwanted situations. And you guys maybe drop some ideas in the comments if there were things that you resolved on your own, or just want to encourage other people, or if there's something that you're struggling with and you would like some insights or just an idea on how you could, reframe the situation into something positive, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll respond, or I'm sure if anybody else wants to give input that they'll respond to. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.